My name's Lynn, and I am a student at the University of New England studying a psychology degree, an undergraduate degree. And as part of this degree, I have been learning about behaviour modification. And my learning curve has been very steep, and I've been able to apply what I've been learning to a number of different aspects of my life. One of these has been with my granddaughter. I thought I knew a lot about managing behaviour of children, and I raised two children quite successfully. They're great adults, and I've been a teacher. But I had a lot to learn with my granddaughter. She recently came to stay with us during the COVID-19 lockdown, as we thought that where we lived was a much safer place than staying in the city. And as part of, during her time here, I decided that she could learn to ride her bike. We bought her a new bike at Christmas and she wasn't learning how to ride it. So she brought it home with her, and I took her out on the street, and within a very, very short space of time, I had a complete meltdown on my hands. She was stressed, she was emotional, she was uncooperative, she was crying, she was anxious. It was not good. And me thinking that I knew a lot about how to manage behaviour, I actually said, I'm going to send you to your room. This behaviour has to stop. I was going to use time out. Wrong. I was wrong at many levels, and that was because of what I had been learning. I realised within seconds that the strategies I was using were incorrect and were going to strengthen the behaviour, this meltdown type behaviour that I was seeing. What I was actually doing was negatively reinforcing the meltdown, anxious, uncooperative, stressful behaviour. The occurrence of the behaviour, in this case the meltdown, was followed was followed by the removal of an aversive stimulus, in this case the bike riding, and that was strengthening the behaviour of melting down, the uncooperative behaviour I was seeing before me. I was also using time out incorrectly. Time out is when you lose access to a positive reinforcement. This wasn't a positive reinforcement for a brief period of time, contingent on the problem behaviour. It wasn't time out at all. It was a calming time, but it wasn't time out. And by doing both these things, I was actually encouraging escape behaviour, where the behaviour, the meltdown, was terminating the aversive stimulus, in this case, the bike riding. And no wonder she had not learnt to ride her bike, because we had been negatively reinforcing this behaviour and strengthening the behaviour. I realised almost immediately what I had done, and within seconds. And I actually changed my mind. I said, no, you're not going to time out in your room. We are going to continue with our bike riding. I spoke to her calmly, quietly, and told her that we would work really hard together to learn to ride her bike. And we continued, albeit for a very, very short time, only 30 seconds to a minute, but the bike riding lesson continued despite the behaviour we were seeing. And interestingly enough, because I terminated my behaviour and continued with the bike riding lesson, each day she has continued to learn to ride her bike with either myself or my auntie. We share the bike riding lessons. It helps. And she is now successfully learning to ride her bike. And it's becoming a positive experience for her, rather than allowing the escape behaviour to continue. Good lesson for an old dog about behaviour modification.